The diamond on Lauren's hand flashed beside our mother's casket. 6 years earlier, she had taken Ryan, the millionaire fiancé I was weeks from marrying, and built her life around proving she had beaten me. She leaned close and whispered, "Poor you, still alone at 38. I got the man, the money, and the mansion. I should have crumbled. Instead." I smiled, looked toward the hallway, and called for my husband. Ryan turned first, the moment he recognized Daniel. His face drained white, and Lauren realized the man beside me wasn't just my husband. He was the one person Ryan never expected to face again. Before I dive into the story, hit like and drop a comment telling me where you're listening from. Let me know if you've ever been in this kind of situation. Your advice reminds me I'm not alone. The backyard smelled like apple pie, cut grass, and the citronella candles Mom had lined along the porch rail. I was standing on a folding chair, twisting one last strand of lights around the maple tree, when Lauren called up to me. "You missed a spot." Of course I had. At 32. I could manage a marketing team, rescue a failing campaign, and present to a room full of executives without breaking a sweat. But around my younger sister, I still felt like the girl who had to double-check everything. Mom came through the screen door carrying a tray of iced tea. "Both of you, please. Tonight is supposed to be happy." I climbed down and smoothed the skirt of my dress. The ring on my left hand caught the late afternoon sun, 5 carats, bright enough to make strangers stop and stare. To me, it wasn't about the size. It meant Ryan had chosen me. It meant the long hours, the disappointing dates, and the years of wondering had finally led somewhere solid. Lauren lifted my hand and studied the diamond. "He really didn't hold back," she said. Her smile looked warm. Her fingers stayed around mine a second too long. Growing up, Lauren had always wanted whatever I had. If Dad praised my grades, she needed a higher score. If I made a new friend, she found a way into the same circle. Mom called it sibling competition. I called it exhausting. Most of the time, I gave in. I let her borrow my clothes, take the front seat, choose the movie. Keeping the peace mattered more than winning. That was why I made her my maid of honor. I wanted to believe the wedding could give us a new beginning, a role that belonged to her, a reason for us to stand beside each other instead of measuring who stood ahead. Ryan arrived just before sunset, handsome in a navy jacket, carrying flowers for Mom and bourbon for Dad. Lauren laughed at every story he told. She touched his arm when she laughed, then left her hand there. I noticed. So did Mom. Later, while I arranged dessert plates in the kitchen, she lowered her voice. "Mia, watch your sister." I glanced through the window. Lauren was standing close to Ryan beneath the lights I had hung. "She's just being friendly." Mom dried her hands on a dish towel, but she didn't answer. Outside, Lauren looked up and caught me watching. Then she raised her glass and smiled. The earring was wedged between the passenger seat and the console, half hidden beneath a crumpled parking receipt. Silver, small sapphire, Lauren's. I held it in my palm while the car's air conditioner hummed against my face. Ryan had been different for weeks. Friday dinners became emergency meetings. His phone stayed face down. The laugh he once said he loved was suddenly too loud. The blue dress he had picked out for me now made me look tired. Each change was small enough to explain away. The earring wasn't. When Ryan came home, I placed it on the kitchen counter. "How did this get in your car?" He barely looked at it. "I drove Lauren to meet the florist. Her car was in the shop. You never mentioned that." He opened the refrigerator. "Because it wasn't important." I called Lauren from the bedroom. "Oh, thank God," she said immediately. "I thought I'd lost it." Ryan gave me a ride to the florist. Same explanation, same order, almost the same words. My stomach tightened. 2 days later, Ryan canceled our cake tasting. "Take Lauren," he said. "She knows what I like." I stared at the phone after the call ended. How did my sister know my fiancé's preferences better than I did that night? I woke to the glow of the hallway light. Ryan's side of the bed was empty. His voice drifted from the guest room. "Not now. She might hear us." A pause. I said soon. The next afternoon, I carried his favorite sandwich into his office building. I told myself I was being thoughtful. The truth was uglier. I needed to see his face before I believed another word. His assistant stood the moment I entered. "Mia, he's in a meeting. I'll wait." He asked not to be disturbed. Her eyes flicked toward the closed door. That was enough. I walked past her and pushed it open. Ryan stood beside his desk, tie loosened, both hands around Lauren's waist. Her arms were locked behind his neck. They were kissing with the ease of people who had done it many times before. Neither noticed me at first. Then the door clicked shut. Ryan stepped back. "Mia." How long Lauren wiped her lipstick with her thumb? Almost 4 months. 4 months. While I chose flowers, while Mom addressed invitations, while my dress hung half-finished in a bridal shop. Ryan started talking about feelings changing. Lauren said he had chosen her. I looked at both of them and finally understood what they had stolen first. It wasn't Ryan. It was my trust in myself. I removed the ring, set it on his desk, and walked out before either of them could rewrite what I had just seen. By sunrise, my kitchen table had disappeared beneath 2 piles. On the left, what could still be canceled. On the right, what I could not yet touch. The florist contract, the seating chart, the cards Mom had addressed in her careful handwriting, a ribbon from my dress fitting. Beside them sat a cup of coffee gone cold. Mom handled the vendors I couldn't speak to. Dad dealt with deposits and pickups. His jaw clenched so tightly I worried about his heart. Ryan sent 1 message. "We should discuss this calmly." Lauren sent 3. "I'm sorry. This wasn't planned. Please don't make Mom choose sides." I saved the messages, not because I wanted revenge, but because I needed a record of what they had said before they started changing the story. Then I blocked them. For weeks. I moved through my apartment like a guest. Food spoiled in the refrigerator. My work suffered. During one client presentation, I lost my place, stared at the screen, and couldn't remember the next sentence. My manager quietly suggested time away. Instead, I asked about an opening in Chicago. Leaving Boston felt less like courage and more like survival. Every restaurant, every street corner, every familiar song seemed connected to a future that no longer existed. Before I left, Lauren came to one family dinner. "You always got everything first," she said after I refused to discuss Ryan. The grades, the career, the apartment. For once, someone chose me. Mom set down her fork. "Your sister's fiancé was not a prize." Lauren looked at me. Ryan made his choice. That sentence followed me all the way to Chicago. My first apartment there had white walls, cheap blinds, and a heater that knocked all night. I worked late because the office felt safer than the silence waiting at home. I also found a therapist. She taught me something I had never understood. Trusting the wrong person did not make me foolish. Staying after the truth was clear would have. A year later, at a technology conference, I met Daniel Hayes. He wasn't loud. He didn't fill every pause with stories about himself. He asked questions and actually listened to the answers. Our first dinner ended with my hands shaking so badly I knocked over a water glass. Daniel moved the candle away, handed me a napkin, and said, "We can leave whenever you want. No disappointment, no pressure." The next day, he sent flowers with a note. No expectations. "Just hoping today feels easier." I told him everything before our relationship became serious. Ryan, Lauren, the wedding that never happened. Daniel listened, then told me he knew Ryan's name from the investment world. Nothing personal, nothing hidden. We built slowly. Coffee, walks, quiet dinners, promises kept in ordinary ways. When he proposed, the ring was small and elegant. I said yes because I trusted the man, not the diamond. We married privately. Lauren and Ryan were not invited, and my parents respected my decision not to share the news. Nearly 3 years later, Mom became sick during her final months. I returned to Boston and helped care for her. My hands often swelled from exhaustion, so I wore my wedding ring on a thin chain beneath my blouse. On the morning of her funeral, I stood before the mirror in my black dress. The ring rested against my heart, invisible to anyone who didn't know where to look. Lauren's heels clicked across the funeral home floor before I saw her. Conversation softened around the guest book. Heads turned. She entered with Ryan's hand at the small of her back. Her black dress fitted perfectly, her diamond catching the pale light every time she moved. For one sharp second, I was 32 again. Then Dad reached for my hand, and the feeling passed. Daniel had stepped away to speak with the funeral director and help one of my uncles move chairs. Lauren noticed I was standing alone. Of course she did. She waited until Ryan stopped to greet someone, then touched my elbow. "Can we talk?" The side room smelled like lilies and furniture polish. Lauren closed the door behind us and looked me over slowly. "You look tired. My mother died." She twisted her ring. "Ryan and I bought a place outside the city. It's enormous. He's doing better than ever." I said nothing. "We're talking about starting a family," she continued. "There's already a room picked out for the nursery." "Still." I gave her nothing. Her smile sharpened. "Poor you," she said. "Still alone at 38. I got the man, the money, and the mansion." The words landed exactly where she aimed them. For years. That sentence would have destroyed me. It would have sent me searching for every flaw in my face, my body, my choices. But standing there, with my mother's casket 20 feet away, I finally saw Lauren clearly. She was still fighting a contest I had stopped entering. I smiled. "Have you met my husband yet?" Her fingers froze on the ring. "You're what?" I opened the door. "Daniel." He looked up from the hallway and walked toward us. Ryan appeared behind him, still holding a paper cup of coffee. Ryan saw Daniel first. The cup stopped halfway to his mouth. Haze. Daniel's expression stayed polite. "Carter." Lauren looked from one man to the other. "You know each other professionally," Daniel said. Ryan cleared his throat. "It's been a while." Daniel stepped beside me and rested one hand gently against my back. "I'm Daniel," he said. "Mia's husband." Lauren's face went blank. "Husband almost 3 years," I said. Ryan recovered faster than she did. He gave a stiff laugh and held out his hand. "We should catch up. I've been meaning to reach out about a few opportunities." Daniel shook his hand once. "Anything professional can go through the usual process." Ryan's jaw tightened. I knew what that meant because Daniel had told me long ago. Years earlier, Ryan had tried to bring a major deal into an investment network Daniel helped lead. Once Daniel recognized Ryan's name, he removed himself from the review to avoid any personal conflict. An independent team later declined the opportunity. Not because of me, because the business did not meet their standards. Daniel had never used my past against Ryan. He had simply refused to bend the rules for him. Lauren looked at Ryan. "You never told me that." There was nothing to tell. But his voice had changed. Too quick, too defensive. That was when she understood. The man she had spent 6 years displaying like proof of victory was suddenly trying to impress mine. A cousin passed the open doorway and greeted Daniel warmly. Then Dad called his name from across the room, asking for help with the service program. No explanation was needed. Daniel belonged there. Ryan did not. Lauren lowered her voice. "Why didn't anyone tell me you got married?" "Because my life stopped being information you were entitled to." She flinched for a moment. I saw anger rising in her face. Then embarrassment swallowed it. I touched the chain beneath my dress and pulled my wedding ring into view. "You were right about one thing," I said quietly. Ryan made his choice. Her eyes dropped to my ring. So did I. I tucked it back beneath the fabric and stepped into the hallway. Daniel followed. "Behind us." Ryan began whispering urgently to Lauren, but she wasn't looking at him anymore. She was staring at her own diamond as if, for the first time, it had stopped shining. Lauren's diamond made a soft click against the kitchen table when she took it off. She had come to Dad's house alone the day after the funeral. No Ryan, no perfect black dress, no makeup hiding the shadows beneath her eyes. I poured coffee and placed the mug in front of her. She wrapped both hands around it but didn't drink. "I'm sorry," she said, "for yesterday, for what I said." I sat across from her. "That apology is 6 years late. I know." The clock above the stove ticked into the silence. Lauren looked down at the ring. I thought if I had everything you were supposed to have, I'd finally stop feeling like your second-place sister. My chest tightened, but I didn't interrupt. Ryan changed after we got married. She continued, or maybe I just stopped being useful once he had me. She told me he checked her phone, criticized what she wore, questioned every purchase, and blamed her whenever a deal fell apart. The mansion she had bragged about came with payments that never seemed to shrink. The vacations were often business appearances. The happy photos were taken before arguments or immediately after them. "He keeps saying one good deal will fix everything," she whispered, "but every new deal creates another problem. Why didn't you leave her eyes filled?" "Because then I'd have to admit I destroyed our family for nothing." I looked at the woman across from me and saw two people at once: the sister who had taken my fiancé and the frightened girl who had spent her whole life trying to prove she deserved to be chosen. Compassion did not erase consequences. "I can't pretend it didn't happen," I said. "And I can't give you back the relationship we had before. I'm not asking you to." "What are you asking?" She slid the ring farther away. "I'm leaving him. I've spoken with a lawyer. I found a small apartment. I just wanted you to hear it from me before everyone else did. I didn't offer money. I didn't promise to protect her from gossip. I didn't tell her everything would be fine. I told her to follow her lawyer's advice, protect herself, and stop confusing punishment with accountability. You don't have to stay with Ryan to pay for what you did to me," I said. "But leaving him won't erase it either." She nodded. "That's fair." We spent the afternoon sorting Mom's things. Lauren folded sweaters while I packed books. Every so often. One of us found something that made us laugh: a grocery list written on the back of a birthday card. A photo of us wearing matching raincoats. 2 recipe boxes because Mom knew we could never agree on dessert. There was no dramatic forgiveness, only small, honest moments where neither of us lied. Months later, Lauren moved into her apartment and began rebuilding her life without Ryan. His business troubles remained his responsibility. Daniel never interfered, and I never asked him to. Back in Chicago, I slipped my wedding ring from its chain and placed it on my finger again. It was smaller than Lauren's diamond, but when Daniel reached for my hand, it felt heavier with everything it truly meant. Peace did not sound like applause. It sounded like a paintbrush moving across a nursery wall while our coffee stayed warm. For years, I believed a ring meant someone had chosen me. Ryan's ring taught me how easily a promise could become a performance. Lauren wore it like a trophy, but trophies do not keep you warm when the house goes quiet. Daniel's ring meant something different. It meant honesty when the truth was uncomfortable, patience when healing took longer than expected, a hand reaching for mine without trying to control it. I never forgot what Lauren and Ryan did. Forgiveness did not erase the betrayal, and reconciliation did not mean restoring access to every part of my life. It meant I stopped carrying their choices as proof that I was not enough. Lauren and I began again slowly, with boundaries, honest conversations, and no pretending. Ryan faced the consequences of the life he built. I returned to mine. If you have ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, tell me how you found your way forward in the comments, and hit subscribe so you do not miss the next story. That old diamond once represented the future stolen from me. Now it only reminds me that my real life began after I let it go.